Hey guys, I'm Carl Radke and welcome to More Life. We've got a special episode today with Mike Sorrentino. You know him as The Situation. I know him as The Inspiration, The Transformation. You know him from Jersey Shore Family Vacation. He's an author. He's a founder of Archangel Centers. He's also a father of 3, a loving husband. I think you guys are gonna love this conversation. I can't wait to talk to him. We're excited to dive in here at Soft Bar in Greenpoint, Brooklyn. All right, let's get started. Mike Sorrentino, welcome to More Life.
Yes.
It is an honor that you're here, man. I'm kind of low-key freaking out inside in the best way. I've been following you and watching you for a long time.
Thank you, brother. I'm hyped. Thank you so much for having me. When my team hit me up and they said that I was going on your podcast, I was super hyped. I've been watching you. I've been following you. You're a fellow sober brother.
Thank you, brother.
Congratulations on this beautiful soft bar.
Thank you, bro.
Right? When you first did it, I was like, that is a good idea.
Thank you. Thank you. I've been very fortunate to be in the position I'm in.
Yeah.
Where I started an alcohol company with my 2 best friends.
Oh my God.
Back in 2018.
Yes.
But being at an alcohol company and then getting sober was what opened my eyes to a lot.
Oh my God. We have that in common as well because I used to also own a vodka company, early on in my career.
Wow.
And then I eventually sold it. And then now I'm now almost 11 years sober this year.
Congrats.
Right? My lucky 11. And I now own treatment centers throughout the country. And that brand of treatment centers is called the Archangel Centers, which I'm just so in love with.
So from booze to centers.
Yeah, so we have that in common, which is just amazing. I knew that we were going to have a fire podcast.
Yes.
But now I truly know it's definitely going to be amazing. So thank you for having me.
Of course. No, I appreciate you coming to Brooklyn. It's great to have Mike here. He's in the building. Of course, my podcast is called More Life, which is actually, Mike, something I used to say early seasons of Summer House. At the time, Drake had his album, More Life.
Oh, shit. Okay.
In my sobriety, it's become a saying that I kind of look at as taking advantage of your opportunities, living life to the fullest. Mm-hmm. For you, do you have something that is one of your favorite sayings or something that you kind of embody?
I embody the comeback is greater than the setback. My story, my book is probably like Wolf of Wall Street, but with a better ending.
10 years sober or 11 years sober now?
I'm 10, but 10. I will be 11 this year.
Congrats. Well, looking back, is it crazy to see yourself back on how far you've come? I
get tingles just thinking of my trajectory because it's wild. I used to be the biggest partier on TV, right? I also had my own vodka company. I was essentially maybe even like the villain that you love to hate for a little bit, but that really wasn't me,
So, the situation that, which was probably one of the most iconic characters in the history of reality TV, which I was a big Situation fan, always loved you.
Yeah.
You wore your heart on your sleeve. You were a big personality.
I did.
You had a little more of a sensitivity and emotion.
I did, yeah.
And as 100%. Someone who relates to that, I loved it.
Yeah.
Was it hard, like playing that character of The Situation?
No, it really was at that time when I was in my 20s, I only knew one speed, and that was...
So that was you.
That was me.
Yeah.
Right? But then when you added substances and you added alcohol and you added fame and you added money, it was gasoline to the flame.
Was that happening a lot before the Jersey Shore started?
Yes. Little do people know, right before Jersey Shore started, I just got out of rehab.
No shit.
Like my first rehab. And I was just young.
Was it drinking?
It was drinking and it was pills.
Yeah.
Right? And when I first went to rehab, I just didn't really know much about self. I didn't have the education about addiction. I didn't know about the steps. I didn't know much about anything. I just was like, oh, that's not me.
I had some guests on who've talked about rehab. I was sat down by some network executives around 2018 and also 2019.
Same.
So I'm thinking I'm getting called into the office because of something else.
Yeah.
And it was more like an intervention, honestly. And I'll never forget one of the women I work with, and she's an amazing woman.
Yeah.
She's worked with me for 10 years on Summer House. Sits down, and I was at that point in my career not comfortable talking about cocaine in my story. Mm-hmm. I wasn't admitting I was sober yet. But cocaine to me was like this other layer of like degenerate and darkness, and like I was a total piece of shit. So for a while, I thought I could just admit that it was just the alcohol. So but I get called into this executive's office, sit down, and she's like, Carl, we're really concerned about you. And the way they presented it to me was very from a loving place. I was like, yeah, just my drinking. And she looks at me and she's like, Carl, is it just your drinking? And the way she said it to me. Mm-hmm. Dude, I unraveled. And for the first time...
Oh, you immediately unraveled? Oh, wow.
I was like, because I finally realized that everybody knew. Because I thought I could hide.
I hid it. I was in denial.
Well, so I'm curious, like when you were going into that first filming of Jersey Shore. I got back from Ibiza before season 1, 7-day bender, had 1 day off, and then started Summer House. I had still cocaine in some of my pockets.
I had just gotten back from rehab, and I sat down with the casting producers, and I didn't say anything about it.
So they had no idea.
Yeah, they had no idea. And then I went on Jersey Shore, and I thought I was like, you know what? I'm going to stay away from pills. I'm just going to drink. I'm too young, to hang it up now. So I went to the first season at the Jersey Shore. I did stay away from pills. The season wasn't too crazy. Right? It really got crazier in season 2 once the money came and then I just let it all hang out.
I want to talk about the fame being a drug too. Can you walk me through you guys exploded.
Yeah.
What was that like at that time? I mean, you got a bunch of money, you're getting invited to parties, everyone wants to hang out with the Sitch.
Yeah, you just said that and I got tingles because it comes back. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh my God. It was like a roller coaster that you really just had to hold on. And you couldn't control it. The money was coming in at an excessive level. The parties were excessive. The women were excessive. Drugs were excessive. Do you understand the theme of it all? And that was sort of the beginning of the end, I guess.
When you were in that early seasons of filming and the drug use was kind of happening, were you worried about if it would come out later on, or even thinking like that?
No,
because I wasn't thinking like that.
I was trying to be one step ahead of the producers.
Yeah.
It was like Mission Impossible every season because there was a different caper to try to get past production. Also, if I was flying, I was also trying to get past TSA. So
you were hiding shit in your shoes?
I was hiding stuff in my shoes in Italy. I was hiding stuff in season 2 in Miami in the bottles of fat burners. I was, unconstituting a pill and then reconstituting it with the drug. And then when I was being filmed 24/7, I'd be smiling, because I knew they couldn't know, right? How would they know what was inside, those pills? But I was fooling myself, right?
Well, and it seems like were you able to manipulate the production a little bit?
Yeah, maybe in the beginning because I was definitely a very big character in the beginning seasons, and I kind of knew that, and I also knew that we had just signed a new contract. The Jersey Shore was the biggest show in the country, so I kind of pushed my weight around a little bit, but the writing was on the wall. The production saw it, and the behavior kept getting more out of control as the seasons went on, to the point where it was just unavoidable. And every season, like you just said, the MTV producers would come sit me down, then and they would do the same thing that they did to you.
And how did you? Was it like?
I was in denial. I'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about, and then I would play the victim, and I would call the lawyer and be like, oh my God, they're saying I'm on drugs. Meanwhile, when they left talking to me, right, I would escape. They would come in and be like, listen, it's okay. We want to help you. And I'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then as soon as they left, I would call the drug dealer. And it was just the insanity of it all, to the point that MTV started to get hip to it. And they started to amend the contract. And they were like, if he escapes on set, we can penalize him.
Got it.
And I still ran away. I would purposely get into an argument or have a short fuse and throw the mic at somebody and be like, I'm out. And then they would chase after me and they would get hip to it. Then once they would chase after me, I didn't want them to follow me after a while. And then it turned into car chases. It got dangerous.
Were you resenting in those moments, the camera's still pursuing you just because? I can relate to this big time because I had a moment on season 4, which actually isn't on Summer House. I stormed away from a dinner because I got called out for my drug use at a dinner.
Yeah, no, it was.
And I was like, fuck everybody, I'm done. I ripped my mic off, threw it, and I didn't return until the next morning. They couldn't get a hold of me.
Yeah.
But that's what prompted getting called into the office.
The same thing happened to me. They, on camera, I'm in interview, and you know exactly what that is. And I guess they wanted reality to be reality. And they were like, do you have a problem? And they asked me in an interview, and I was just like, how dare you?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Meanwhile, they had every right to do that, right? And I was like, how dare you? And then I straight up, again, I manipulated the situation, and I immediately, stormed out of interview. And then the interviewee who was asking the questions slowly started to follow me, like, I'm sorry. And they're trying to fix it. And then eventually I'm storming out of the compound. and I'm walking past security, and they're like, "Stop him!" And then that's when I started to run, and I jumped in a cab, and it was like almost like a movie, and I escaped.
So they had this written in your contract to kind of protect from some of this behavior.
And they were probably trying to protect me too.
Yeah, I think that's what's beautiful is I had that level of love and care, and I feel like the team, they obviously loved you and cared for you. But it was a fine line of like enabling you.
But also I own treatment centers now, so I know exactly what they're doing. I do this on a daily basis, right?
You wrote the book.
So they were essentially trying to save my life. And I was probably one of the most resistant people they've ever met. I thought I was like, Tom Cruise on Mission Impossible trying to escape and car chases. And I jumped out of a moving car one time while Snooki was in the car, JWoww was in the car. And I did that to try to escape the cops that were following, that were there to protect me, the security guards that were there to protect me, and I needed to get a little bit of distance in order to get to the drug dealer. In the tanning salon, mind you, Jim tanning, we got a fucking situation. Excuse my language.
No,
but
please, we're allowed to swear here.
Okay.
Let it fly.
But some of the capers that I pulled, during my time, on TV the past 17 years, it's like a movie, right?
The stress levels of like trying to like thread the needle from filming and then picking up.
Me and you were doing the same thing on essentially a different network at very similar time periods.
Yeah.
And I even had code words because I was on the phone, the duck phone, mind you, right?
Quack, quack.
Right? In Seaside Heights. And the code word was to bring girls to the club. Girls.
Girls is drugs.
Girls was drugs. But I did that specifically because I knew that blurred the lines. Because we were going to the club and we were single men and we were looking for girls.
Perfect little code word.
Right? And it was in intervals of 10. So if I said bring 10 girls to the club, that meant bring 100 pills or 100 Roxys.
Wow.
Which, if no one knows what a Roxy is a 30 milligram oxycodone, a little blue pill.
Remember the first time you took a painkiller?
Yes.
Was it like well before Jersey Shore, or was it?
It was when I was 19.
19.
Yeah, I was 19, and a childhood friend said that someone around the corner had the big C, or cancer, and they had these yellow pills. They called them bananas. And that I believe they can get their hands on them.
Wow.
And I said, you know what? I'll try it, sure. And as soon as I tried it, I'll be honest with you, I fell in love with it. It was like this warm, fuzzy feeling that I felt. That became my drug of choice.
I did try an Oxy in college with some friends at a party. Yeah. I got sick.
Yes.
I didn't like it.
Yeah,
and
no.
I still, to this day, pray because I can remember how horrible I felt from it. Was an OC80.
Yeah. Oh, God.
And we...
Wow. You did an OC80.
He licked like the powder coating on the outside, chopped it up, and we did a little line.
You can snort that. Yeah.
I was so sick, man.
Oh, my God. Yeah, no. See, we're opposites. I would get sick if I did the speed.
Got it.
But I was very stubborn, which means I still kept trying.
Sure.
So I would do the Adderall, I would do the Coke, I would do some of those drugs because I was like, oh, let me try again. Let me see if I like it again.
Sure.
I was one of those kids that was very curious. And, curiosity ended up killing the cat.
Get you more.
Yeah.
So you're a couple years into Jersey Shore, and I want to get into something about which I read in your book was just like the Dancing with the Stars piece, where you're talking about you're using, you're performing.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine how difficult that already is on its own, Dancing with the Stars. The workload, the practice, and then you're juggling all of that.
Yeah.
At what point in your Shore career did the Dancing with the Stars come along? Was it like midstream or early?
No, it was second or third year.
Okay.
In 2011, ironically, I was GQ Man of the Year, which is very unattainable usually for a reality star. They don't really like reality stars. And that same year, I was Dancing with the Stars participant. And I was, I also got the big raise from Jersey Shore that year where they gave me $1 million raise.
Well deserved.
I bought my Ferrari the same year. I essentially was, drinking my own Kool-Aid, thinking of who I was, right?
Sure. So you didn't get any, like, Dancing with the Stars reaches out, fuck it, let's do it. You weren't worried about...
Exactly, that's what it was. I was so high on myself, I was like, fuck it, let's do it. You know what I mean? Like, we'll fly out to LA. It was 6 or 8 weeks of on set. You know, I'm running into like, you know, David Hasselhoff and all the other stars, and you know, I'm tipping my glasses and stuff. You know what I mean? Like the situation is here.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I didn't.
You had a larger than life personality.
Yeah, I had one of those.
Were the dancing folks privy to some of their struggles behind the scenes?
When I was on Dancing with the Stars, I had a raging, debilitating drug addiction. Like I was taking, you know, 6 to 8 Roxys 3 times a day, right? Like in between practices, I'd have to stop and go to my bag and, you know, pop 4 more or pop 5 more. Even on live TV, I remember, you know, David Hasselhoff coming up to me. He's like, man, you have ice in your veins. Because it's live TV. You're in front of millions of people and you got to do this routine. And he sees me with these glasses on, just chilling, not even unbothered, right? And needless to say, I was on 6 to 8 Roxys 3 times a day, right?
Yeah, you were just
like enough drugs to kill an elephant.
Were the dancing folks behind the scenes, like, did they pick up on maybe that you were struggling a little bit, or?
I think everybody knew,
yeah.
You know what I mean? But I was just really good at hiding it.
Well, the reason I asked
plus I had the glasses on at all times, right?
Yeah.
So I had that persona of, I don't want you to look me in the eyes. Actually, which is so crazy, which I don't really tell people too often, but my rider, in the rider, it says you can't look me in the eye. You can't look the situation in his eyes. Like how ridiculous is that?
All I've been doing this whole conversation is looking you in the eye.
How ridiculous is that? I actually had in my rider that you cannot look this, and third person, you cannot look the situation in his eyes. Like it's so crazy.
That's a hell of a rider comment.
But I had to learn the hard way. You know,
something that comes to mind while you're talking about this is your cast members. You know, Vinny, Pauly, the girls.
Yeah, they probably hated me at the time.
Do you think they understood how down bad you were behind the scenes or what you were really dealing with?
Well, also in the Italian culture, you know, you don't rat. So they definitely knew, you know, but they didn't know exactly what it was. And also they never like caught me in the act.
Sure. Did you ever open up to any of the boys and be like, hey guys, like
No,
not really.
I assumed that everybody was kind of doing their own thing.
Sure.
But apparently they weren't. Only I was.
Yeah, well, that's what's so funny. You think everybody's doing.
Yeah, you know, I thought like JWoww and this person's doing that, and
well,
they're
everybody.
fine.
And because of your story, I've had friends of mine that I'm very close to. I mean, Kyle Cook, who's on Summer House, one of my best friend.
Yeah.
He doesn't do drugs. He really doesn't.
Yeah.
He drinks. And I'm not outing anything here,
Yeah.
but I was such a problem and had such an addiction that everybody thought he always was doing something.
I was a psychopath.
Yeah.
I would hold the drink. I had like schemes. Like I held the drink so you thought I was drinking, but I had a pocket full of pills in my pocket.
Dude, I relate to this so much, man.
You know what I'm saying?
It's
and then the other people on the cast, they were drinking, and I used that also as like a cover. Like everyone's doing their thing, right? But my behavior was just way off the wall.
Did you have any like tricks that you would pull that, like, I'll give you an example for me. Like if I knew I was going somewhere to be on camera or filming and I had been using or really fucked up, I would shower, shave, get like overly dressed up to try and physically look like no one could tell.
Well, yeah.
Were there little things?
100%. I mean, listen, I would shave. My outfit would be perfect, but...
Yeah, you're always really well put together on the outside, so...
But I obviously had the glasses on the whole time, you know, and I refused to take them off. And if you took the glasses off, I was high as fuck, right?
So
but also... in my bag, which I did bring a bag today, but I'm almost 11 years sober. But
it's empty.
Yes, it's empty.
Well,
guys.
Good stuff on it.
But yeah, exactly. I got chapstick in there.
Good
you
man.
know? And I used to have a pharmacy in my bag. I don't know if you've probably seen Wolf of Wall Street.
Yes.
In my bag, you know, to wake up, I had the Adderall, right? In the middle of the day, I had my, my oxycodone that I liked. Then I also had like some weed and some coke, right, to pick me up to go to the club. And at night, more Percocets and then Valium to bring me down. And I used to travel with that bag like throughout the airports and stuff.
Did you ever get in? I had a guest on recently, Jason Waller, another kind of amazing reality TV guy who had lived in some active addiction on TV, and he shared a lot about his story of arrests. But like, just kind of seeing you both navigate, I guess, like those stories that have been on TV. Like, how do you relive the replaying of these episodes?
I mean, when I see them, I might slightly cringe, but
do you laugh at it at all?
I do laugh.
Okay.
I do laugh a little bit.
The reason I ask is I had this the other day. They showed a clip for me 10 seasons ago.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm wearing overalls.
Yeah.
I've been drinking since Thursday, and I'm talking to one of the girls I was dating at the time, and I'm not even making sense.
Yeah, no,
they
I
played
know.
the clip, and I'm just like,
know.
fuck.
I know. I even speak differently too. I'm such a. I'm like now. I pride myself on being, well spoken.
Yep.
When I see old clips of myself, I'm like, oh my god. And again, I was high most of the time.
Yeah, and you can tell pretty obviously when you're high or not.
But like those years in our life, right, and where we are now, right, as we continue to elevate, right, in the public eye, that right there is our test in our testimony, right? So like I'm essentially working on maybe a documentary and a movie on my life. Those years when I was, crazy and owning it, it's like an action movie almost. But again, it kind of, gives a little substance to my whole life, which I feel like I've lived 100 lives.
So if you're laughing at it or kind of using it to inform the future,
yes,
it helps.
yes.
I use more or less this podcast to get some therapy too, by the way.
Yeah,
So
no, it's very therapeutic.
I've tried to pick up on some of the best things you've pulled because these clips sometimes pop up and I'm blackout, I'm on coke, I'm fucked up. It's
yes,
like, oh.
I know, but like when we sit down with someone that wants to get sober, right? Or we sit down with somebody that needs help, they love and they respect our story. So they're going to listen to us, right? So that was necessary, right?
Well, let's get into something that happened on camera that you talked about, withdrawal, hitting your head.
Oh, wow.
Dude, I watched that episode. I love the Italy trip was unbelievable. I actually went to that pizza place that you guys had worked at after in Florence.
Bro.
Hitting in the wall. I had never realized until after with your book, you were going through it in that capacity. Can you talk us about the wall in Italy and just all that shit?
I mean, that was essentially like a metaphor for my life, right? I literally and figuratively hit a wall, right? And I needed to.
Would you frame that as part of, do you have a rock bottom, would you say?
I actually, to this day, now being where I am in life, I celebrate that time. You know what I mean? I actually, currently right now, I got a guy making a sculpture of me, with the neck brace and sunglasses, because I swear I do. Because,
iconic,
no, I swear. It's a very iconic moment in reality TV, but it's one of the times that, shook me to my core.
Do you remember what was going on in your head in that moment at all?
At that moment,
I mean, there was some drama clearly going on with the group,
was drama,
but you were also...
but I really wanted no part of it because I was going through withdrawal for the last day or two. And no one knew about it but me. And I'm like, oh my God, man. I'm about to go through withdrawal on one of the biggest TV shows in the country. And at that particular time period, Jersey Shore has the record for the highest ratings in MTV history with 8.9 million in 2011, I believe. And that was the neck brace episode.
Wow.
And again, it actually is my worst moment, right? But it is the most iconic moment. Like for me, everybody knows the neck brace and sunglass moment. And every single year for Halloween,
I was gonna say, you're a Halloween character.
I'm a Halloween character every single year.
I think I might have to dress up as
so like
Mike.
It's like a mind fuck, right? That your worst moment on TV turned out to almost be like your best moment, where it would, it changed your life, right? And also that season 2, when I got home, MTV sent me the letter and they gave me the ultimatum. And they said, if Mike, the situation, doesn't go to rehab and come back, the situation that we love from season 1, then don't come back at all.
Done.
And that shook me too. Because I believed, that I was meant to be on reality TV and I was born for that and I was about to ruin it and, ruin my dreams.
Was that one of the first times you had someone maybe come from a place of concern and love, or
it was probably one of the first times where
or tough love, I guess.
Yeah, it was tough love by MTV, and they were trying for years. They were trying to save my ass in my life for years, and finally they gave me the ultimatum, and I was like, oh, my dreams are on the line. I'm about to ruin it, man. So I'm a big fan of Sylvester Stallone, and so I was like, okay, I know that the disease of addiction, the odds are against us. Most people fail, right? And so I pretended like I was Rocky, and I went on a mountain in Utah, and I essentially trained and detoxed and, got sober, right? And then I went back to the show sober, right? But if you do read the book, I essentially pulled the old trick of substitution, which I stopped doing pills and I stopped doing alcohol in front of the camera. And behind the scenes in the bathroom, I was smoking weed and doing Adderall. And no one knew but me. I wasn't fooling anybody but myself.
By yourself.
By myself.
Yep.
But, again, I was slowly going in the right direction.
Sure.
Right? Trying to fix the problem.
Yeah.
But not fully.
But I appreciate your honesty with like that part of your story, because I think a lot of people just assume, oh, Mike just got sober and flipped the switch. And
No, I was sober in front of the camera in season 6. Also, I was on steroids as well. And, I had an issue with like anger because of those substances.
I mean, you were fucking jacked.
I was jacked that season. It made it worse for me because by me doing that, I was introduced to almost like speed or Adderall that I started to abuse. And it really messed my head up for a while.
Adderall, I still contend, if you're really not the right candidate or overprescribed, I mean, the mental unwinding you have to do after getting sober from Adderall is...
Yeah. I recently took a course on interventions. I'm intervention certified to go door to door and course correct an addict's life from active addiction into recovery. And I was informed that it takes 1 to 3 years for the brain to heal from speed abuse, like Adderall, and cocaine and meth.
That actually makes me feel a lot more validated, because it took me, I would say, from the time I got sober, 2021, January, got a sponsor, 90 meetings, 90 days.
Ooh, nice.
Really fucking did it.
Yeah.
Steps, amends,
Congrats.
all of it. I didn't mentally really feel like myself,
Yeah.
and probably until almost a year and a half, 2 years ago. It was
Yeah.
almost 4 years, but
Yeah.
you mentioned the replacement thing. I got into a relationship before a year,
Oh, wow.
which I'm
Yeah.
curious, like you've heard that in the meetings. And,
Yeah, no.
and can you talk to me like why that's so important?
You're
'Cause
you're very vulnerable.
you're like new stuff, and then you're introducing like
Yeah.
this love and this attention.
You don't want to stress yourself out either. That's the thing. You just don't want, in early recovery, you're like a little baby.
Yeah.
You do not want to stress yourself out. So that's why they say you need to just focus on yourself, build your foundation, build your recovery, right? Get more sobriety, and then you can handle more. That's why they say no relationships.
Yeah. I would drink whiskey and do coke because it gave me this confidence.
I like to do bad things.
Okay.
Yeah. No one had to convince me. I liked Darth Vader. And even when I was the villain of reality TV, I reveled in it. I wanted to be it. And
You were the agitator.
yeah, I wanted to be it. If no one liked me, cool, I'll go against everybody, And that just, there's just such an easier way of life to move forward. But inside, there's still that darkness inside. Even to this day, I'm about to be 11 years sober in a couple months, there's that darkness inside, and I have to fight it every day.
Well, I want to get into that because there's something that I talked with my producer, Annie, already about, which is to come this season on Summer House, I get into a pretty big verbal and almost physical fight with my best friend, Kyle.
Yeah.
I've seen you obviously get into heated with
Yeah.
Ronnie, Paulie, Vinny,
Yeah.
all of it. I'm sober in this episode.
Yeah.
And I flip out.
Yes.
But I had a reaction.
Yes.
Just was completely taken over. Can you talk about that stuff still inside of you,
Oh my God,
but sober, and how to
yeah.
kind of navigate those emotions and feelings? Because what I say is sober people can be assholes too sometimes.
Yes, we're not perfect.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? We're humans.
Yep.
We have emotions, right? And for me, I just have an obsessive personality, and it's never going to go away. And I tell people all the time, there's a good wolf and there's a bad wolf inside of us. And for me, I have to feed the good wolf because, the wolf you feed wins, right? And for me, I don't lie, I don't cheat, I don't steal, I don't drink, I don't drug. I don't even like to go speed in my car because I don't want to pay the ticket. Because any little behavior could set off. I have somebody inside of me, this darkness that I do not want to let out.
Yeah, I'm
You know
curious.
what I mean?
What would your official sober day, was it Christmas Eve?
Yes, December 24th of 2015.
Wow. Can we talk about a little bit of why that day? Just so happened to be that day, or?
Yes, no. Essentially, I had went through probably one of the biggest moments of my life, probably a month or two prior to that, where I had tried a drug that I never thought I was going to try. Most of my life, I loved Percocet. I loved Roxycodone. If you mentioned to me heroin, I'd be like, oh, God, that's dirty. That's gross. People that try heroin, they never come back. And you hear all the time about overdoses and things like that. But once upon a time, I came to the fork in the road where, I had lost everything, in my life. My accountant did a forensic accounting of my finances and said you spent upwards of $600,000 on oxycodone and cocaine. My lawyer said, you know what, Mike, the world loves you, but you can't pay for me, and sorry, we have to, part ways. The landlord sent the letter and said, you're 3 months behind on rent and we're going to have to evict you, right? And now I'm also down on myself, anxiety at an all-time high, and vulnerable. So I called up a high school friend of mine, best friend. I said, man, we need to score some pills, right? And he says, no problem. He said, come pick me up. We'll go to Newark. I'm like, dude, come on. I can't go to Newark, right? You know, I'm in the situation. As soon as I come into Newark, they're going to arrest me. They know, you know, I'm a famous face. He's like, no problem. Just stay in the car. So I stayed in the car. I'm sweating bullets. I know it's a horrible decision. And he comes back an hour or two later. And I'm like, sigh of relief, like, oh, man, all this time is not wasted. He throws something on my lap. And I'm just like, what is this? And he throws this bundle on my lap. And then I'm like, oh, no, he just threw heroin on my lap. I'm like, fuck. I was like, if I don't try this, I'm going to get sick soon. I'm going to go through withdrawal, right? So now I'm at the fork in the road. Like, am I going to do this? Now we're on our way home. It's, you know, getting dark, right? And essentially, I have to make a decision. Like, am I going to try this heroin or not? And so I go up into my room. I see my girlfriend. We're obviously fighting. And I say, I need to be left alone. I turn on the movie 2012 because I love end of the world movies. And if shit goes haywire, at least I'm in the vibe for it, right?
You're ready.
I'm ready, right? That's fucked up, but it's true.
Yeah.
And so I open the bag of heroin and I'm like, you know what? If I just try Key Bump, I should be okay. This is the first time I'm trying it. And I also have a good tolerance for Roxy's. So I tried it and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't really like it, but I'm like, I didn't die. So I'm like, okay. And then all of a sudden a little, devil on my shoulder's like, you need to try a little bit more, right? And as soon as I did that, I swear to you, I went in for a bigger Key Bump, right? And with my right hand, and on my left hand, the phone's ringing. And I look at it, and I swear I get tingles every time I say the story. And it said Mom on it. And I have tingles right now. And I was just like, no fucking way. No fucking way my mom's calling right now. Where I got the devil on one hand and the angel on another. So I'm like, what am I going to do? I got to pick up. It's Mom, right? So I pick up and I say, Mom, what's up? She had concern in her voice, right? I'm like, no, you got to be fucking kidding me right now. I got heroin in his hand and my mom is like, oh my God, are you okay? And I'm like, oh, bro, I have tingles right now. I got tingles right now. And so at that particular point, I looked up at the sky and I'm like, oh my God, are there cameras in my ceiling right now? I'm starting to get paranoid. Like, this is too crazy. And thankfully, thank God, I took this moment as a come to God moment. The Almighty was trying to tell me something, right? My eyes and ears were open just a little bit, right? And I started a tear coming down my eye. And I was like, I gotta go, Mom. I hung up. I flushed the heroin down the toilet. Wow. And as I was doing that, my then girlfriend, who's now my wife, mother of my 3 children, bodied the door. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it was just, there was 2 angels fighting for my life. It was just ridiculous, right? It was like a cinematic moment. Yeah. And I'll never forget it. Every time I tell the story, I have tingles.
Yeah, I'm chilling right now.
That was my big come to God moment. And I embraced my then girlfriend, who's now my wife. I said, I have a problem. I did something that I just didn't think I was going to do. And I said I needed help, right? I got out of my own way and I said I need help. And then at that particular time period, I was on pretrial. And if anybody knows about pretrial, that's essentially, that's the government that you have to report to. I essentially ratted myself out, called my pretrial officer and said, you know what? I have a problem. I need help. And I was in rehab the next day.
Wow.
Fast forward to Christmas Eve, I was in treatment for like 30 days and somebody snuck Roxy's in. And this is why they say you're very vulnerable in early recovery. Right. So I'm in rehab, right? I'm in rehab, and somebody snuck in Roxy's, my drug of choice. I only have like 30 days, and what do you think I did?
You did.
I did it. I'm actually, I don't know if I don't know if I feel shame about that because it's almost like a little blemish on my story, but it's the truth. So I did it. It's in my book, but I did it, and then as soon as I did, I had instant regret. Now I'm in rehab, right? And now it's and Christmas Eve. I'm by myself, high, And I just couldn't believe that now, like I just did this. And now I'm trying to hide that I'm high in rehab, because if they find out, maybe they're going to throw me in prison. Because if you're on pretrial and you violate, you see it all the time on the news.
Yep.
Like certain celebrities, they'll remand you and they'll send you to prison. Sure enough, guess what happens, right? Somebody in the rehab ratted on me, and now I'm in the owner's box or whatever, and my pretrial officer is coming to sit with me, and they're now discussing throwing me in prison early because I just violated my pretrial agreement. And that was the day. That was Christmas Eve of 2015, yeah. And then she sat me down. I'll never forget it. And she said, I can throw you in prison right now. And I said, what happens if you give me another shot? She said, well, if I give you another shot, you really got to take it. I said, I promise. And right then and there, I knew it. I knew my life was on the line. You know what I mean? And right then and there, I am now, like I said, I'm 10 years clean and sober. We're going on our lucky 11.
Amazing. What made you not want to give up on yourself?
I mean, I listen, that come to God moment had just happened. And also, I'm on pretrial. I lost all my money. America essentially has given up on me. The family, everything's gone. There's nothing left. I remember just being in rehab and thinking to myself, most of my life I have skated by and been a C student.
Sure.
Right? And America loved me, right? And never tried my hardest, ever. So at this moment, I'm like, what happens if I try my hardest, right? What happens if I give it my all and try to be everything God has created me to be? What would happen? I was like, because I really need a prayer. I really need a perfect game, a perfect comeback to come back from this, right?
Yep.
I got singles again, and
you're making me cry a little bit, honestly.
And what happened was, that's what happened. I needed a perfect game, and we ended up pitching a perfect game.
What's like a thing in your day-to-day recovery that, or even for most people, they wouldn't maybe realize living in that day-to-day? It looks like a clean thing. It's like, okay, I get sober, go to meetings, work steps, and you're sober.
I always put my sobriety first.
Yeah.
I am brutally honest. I am always transparent in everything. But I tell people all the time, and I sometimes, and it feels so good saying this, I feel like I was born for TV, right?
You were.
I love being on TV, but I love helping people more.
You can see the joy that you bring to these, difficult conversations, difficult family situations, difficult individual stories.
Yeah.
You have a lightness and a brightness about you, given even all the darkness you've been through.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful to
Thank
see
you.
how you extend that.
I
and you feel it even through your social media.
Thank you.
Which I applaud as someone who's a male and watching another male. I mean, we need more positive male stuff.
I really appreciate what you said about the darkness. And I want to say this is that when your nightmares come true, and when you are in the darkness and you look around, right, and you kind of are content of where you are, and you sort of take a big, deep breath, right? You end up realizing that you are the light, and then when you start to elevate from there, then you walk into a room like God sent you, and it's a beautiful thing.
Do you do therapy?
I do therapy, yes. Yeah. Yes. I own a rehab.
Of course.
So I have access to therapy. I run groups with my rehab twice a week. I'm in my office 5 times a week.
Love it.
I do interventions.
You're in it. You're
bro,
in it.
I am in it, brother. I did 2 interventions last week. Which was just amazing. People just don't realize that you run a smoother life when you're keeping your side of the street clean. Like if I don't lie, cheat, steal, drink, drug, or speed, right? That eliminates a lot of things.
Takes care of a lot.
When the problem happens, I'm like, it wasn't me. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't me.
Generally.
Right? And so I think that I have found the secret in, at least for me, of going through life at a very elevated position, a very elevated vibration.
Yes.
And those 2 words that I'm saying to you, I know you understand it.
The vibration.
Yes.
It's like we're all in the same room, but not everybody's on the same vibration.
Yeah. I could go into a club now and I'll be the happiest guy in the club. and I will just be happy on life, right? I'll be happy on the music that they're playing. And see, the thing is, everyone else will have to drink to get to my level, right? And then after about an hour, they'll be slurring their words, and we can't even have a conversation
it comes
anymore.
off, they fall off a cliff.
Right? So people don't really understand all that, but it comes with practice, though.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning, before I got to that, there was like, oh my God, is America gonna love me again? Because they known me as the situation with the abs, and I got the girls and I and all that stuff. And I had to find a different version of myself that was inside there the whole time. And I was scared. And when you're scared, you got to jump. And that's what I did.
Dude, unbelievable. Like, all of that is exactly how I felt in the last few years, is like getting into that acceptance of yourself, of like the younger version of myself, or like this vibration that's like, it took me some time, but now like I don't want it any other way. And it's giving me so much freedom and happiness. I don't want to get emotional, but the butterfly is proof that it can go through a great deal of darkness and become something beautiful. I think that's what it is. Yeah. Right? Or it's the caterpillar. The caterpillar to the butterfly.
Yeah. That's a quote. Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna make me cry, man. It's so beautiful what you said, because I relate to a lot of that so deeply. That jumping mentality and like, that acceptance of who you are.
Yeah, I had the MTV producers sit me down in season 1 of the new reboot, and they I wasn't used to being in front of the camera again, sober at all.
Yeah,
I was used to being in the interview chair, like lit or high.
Every time I did interviews, seasons 1 through 4, I was drunk.
Yeah, so anytime I would go in an interview, I would be like a chemist. Like, oh, what can I mix up today? What should I do today? And everyone, I would say, Mike used to do. He's so funny. He does amazing interviews. Best in the business or whatever, right? So when I came back and I was sober, I needed to find that version of myself that was inside of myself, right? That can articulate myself, right? And connect with the interviewee, right? And try to connect with the audience. It was like an art that I needed to find that I wouldn't even know existed if I didn't try.
Yep. So, I mean, your example of like filming or going through that is like similar to what I went through, is where I got sober and then I'm going back into these same kind of environments on camera, confessionals with my friends.
Yeah.
I almost had to like learn how to walk again.
Yes.
Kind of thing.
That's exactly.
But once I got into like, I found that voice a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like so freeing, because I'm like, that's me.
Yeah, you started to lean into it. Now, like when somebody needs to speak on camera, I'm ready.
Yeah.
I always tell people all the time, the only way to be ready is to stay ready.
Sure. Well, I have had this question a ton over the years with Summer House, is like, you're going back to the same places, the Southampton, the clubs, the bars, same people.
People, places, and things, yeah.
How do you handle that with your current, Jersey Shore family farewell and like, you're 10, 11 years sober, family man, husband, father, and I know your other friends are all married and have things going on.
For me, it's not even a thing. Now, like I said, I'm going on my 11th year of sobriety. Now I'm happier than the whole club. You know what I mean? When I walk in it, as soon as I walk into the club, I'm dancing and vibing and smiling, right? And I'm like, also like maybe if I want a Red Bull, or maybe I want a diet soda, or maybe I want some chicken tendies at the bar. You know what I mean? Like I am like staying in my own lane, and I am running my own race perfectly. I think what people don't realize is in life, we all have different tests, and if we copy off of each other, we fail. Right?
Love that
so
shit.
like I'm just like, you know what? I got my own test. And I'm gonna take it.
Do you feel like the audience is now finally seeing who Mike Sorrentino is, and the character? And
and I feel like I'm still, turning into my best self, right? I feel like I keep evolving, year after year. As I now am an owner of my own treatment center.
Which I want to get into. Like, talk to me about the beginnings of this. What was the inspiration of getting involved in that treatment stuff? Were you inspired by other people that?
For me, I was inspired probably by my own pain. I felt that, they made an example out of me, and they tried to bury me, but they didn't know I was a seed. you know, and
So good, man.
so I was just determined to prove, you know, the haters and the naysayers wrong. And so I also, you know, when I got out of prison, I had a conversation with my team and they said, "What's next for the situation?" And I was like, "You know what? I want to help people that were once in my position, right?
So
I want to
beautiful.
be able to provide a safe space for them to be able to write their comeback story or help them write it."
Sure.
And that's also very important too, to have like a vision board, to no matter how old you are in life, to always have, you know, something on your vision board, always have dreams, never lose the kid inside of you. You can do anything you want to do, you know, anything that you dream, as long as you are positive and try to put the work in and be optimistic. There's a such thing called manifestation,
Yes.
right?
We manifest a lot here on the
yeah,
life.
so like out of nowhere, I'm like a daydreamer all day long. I'm like, you know, I want a movie on my life. I want, you know, I'll be honest with you. Yesterday I was on the phone with somebody and they're like, let's draw up the agreements. Like we're going to start to, you know, look into making a movie about my life. Right.
love it.
Like, and I mean, you know, why not?
I love it.
Right. You miss all the shots that you don't take. Right. So why not take all the shots you can that, of course, that are organic.
Sure.
You know, when you're reaching, those things don't work. But when you actually put in the work, and things are organic, those are the things that work.
And they almost you attract them versus chasing them.
Like for instance, you're many years sober, sir. You know what I mean? You're successful. A softball is an amazing idea. When I heard you wanted to do it, I was like, I want to do that.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, right. I'm like, I want to do that in Jersey.
It's not too late. We can still maybe do that.
Yes, yeah, maybe we'll.
There's a future here. We're gonna manifest more locations.
Yeah, who knows?
I'm curious. You mentioned something, childlike self, or getting back to that, like kids can dream, and you're a father. Something I think about with the stuff we put out there in the world on TV, the past. How are you going to talk to your kids about some of old Jersey Shore?
I mean, listen.
Because I don't have kids yet. I'm not married, but I'm like, how am I going to sit them down at some point and explain seasons 1 through 4?
You know what? My kids are going to see Dad every single year with a giant funfetti cake celebrating his sobriety on Christmas Eve. Every single year. My kids are young too. They're 4.
They probably think it's just your birthday now.
Yeah, they probably do. It's my other birthday,
Exactly.
my soberversary. But 4, 3, and 2. So every year, sobriety is going to be prevalent, right? Awareness is going to be prevalent. Education is going to be there from an early age. So I think that is the best preventative. Again, my kids, when they get older, you know, they're probably going to want to experiment just like me, right? But from an early age, they're going to be taught about awareness and education, about the consequences of drugs and alcohol.
I love it.
So I think we're in a pretty good position. But again, I'm sure when my kids get older, they'll definitely hone in on my younger years.
I appreciate this. I mean, would you say it is imposter-ish a little bit
It's
sometimes?
just weird. I walk into a store and I don't ever have to show an ID. Everyone's like, you walk in and you're everyone's best friend.
Yeah.
I walk into a store, hey Mike, and you're like, hey.
Yeah, you just met them for the first time, and they've been with you for 15 years.
Yeah, exactly. And because I've been in America's living rooms for 17 years, they consider me like a member of their family, and I love it. With great power comes great responsibility. And now I'm using that platform to save lives, but I will be honest that every now and then it's weird to process. There is a little bit of a weight of like, you get the tingles and you're like, wow, like what's so special about me? You know?
I relate to this so much, man.
You know, you're just like, this is amazing. And I just walked into a crowded room everywhere I go. And it's almost like the Truman Show, where everybody knows who you are.
Yep.
And you don't know anyone.
Anybody. This is unbelievable, man.
Right?
I'm on a constant journey of finding and meeting people that I want to be like, or learn, try to understand their perspectives.
I've had an unbelievable time. I'm so glad I did this podcast.
Appreciate
I have
you.
such a good feeling.
Appreciate you, brother.
Amazing, brother.
Thank you,
yes.
man. You're the best.
It was. Thank you.
It's an honor having you here. I mean, all the work you've done, it's helping me. And that's the beauty of what this world is with recovery. Is I often am shocked because people will come up to me and say, Carl, you helped me, or you got me sober. And I'm like, of course I process it, but in my head, I'm like, but then I remind myself.
Yeah.
I tell them, hey, you're going to impact someone in your life just the way I did. Living loudly, living honestly.
Yeah.
And that's the gift.
Well, also, like, we've had this conversation. This is the first time that me and you ever met. And I feel like we've known each other our whole lives.
Well, parasocially a little bit for me.
You know what I mean?
This is going to help a lot of people. And I've had a lot of people come to me and they were like, when is Mike coming on?
Oh, yeah.
And I had him. So I'm just glad this happened very organically.
Yeah. It's probably one of the best podcasts I've had in memory, sir.
Appreciate you, man.
Thank you for having me on.
Well, shout out to you. Shout out to your Jersey Shore crew. Yes. Thank you for being here on More Life today.
Thank you guys so much.
Appreciate you. We'll check you guys next time here at Soft Bar in Greenpoint, Brooklyn. Thank you to Mike Sorrentino. Check him out. You know where he is. He's easy to find, but love you, brother.
Thank you.
Keep going.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys. More Life is produced by Annie Siegel and executive produced by Adam Reynolds of Denim Pictures. This episode was directed by Annie Siegel, edited by Mikey Ortiz, and recorded at Soft Bar Studios in Brooklyn, New York. More Life is a production of Sony Music Entertainment. From Sony, our executive producers are Chris Skinner and Joanna Clay. Original music by Function Adams. Set design by Michael Ignacio. Publicity by Caitlin Healy. Additional support from Abby Sharp. Special thanks to Allison Shano and Joanna Orland. New episodes drop every Tuesday. We'll see you next time.